So Michelle, come up here. I got to announce my good volunteer, Michelle. She is our marketing and social media person, and maybe many of you found out about this through her posts because she is posting the Vegetarian Society all over Facebook. And she also puts our flyers up all over the place. So she is our great social media and flyer marketer, which is helping many of us find out about this. You know, believe it or not, there's people on this island that still have never heard of the Vegetarian Society. And it has been on and off. I guess Robert said it was, originally they started a group in the 90s. And then I don't know if it continued from there, but then they started it again in 2007. And it's been going continuously just about since 2007. There's people who still don't know about Vegetarian Society. So we still need to get the word out. And so we're thankful for Michelle and all that you're doing. She has a special story she's going to share with us, part of her journey. And she also has been a vegan, what, 6 years?
No,
6 months.
10 months.
10 months now, okay. 10 months, and she's noticed a big change in her life, and she's going to deal with some of the myths that people believe about vegetarianism, which prevents them from being a vegetarian. And those myths are all over the place. They're something that we're born with, right? We're born into these families that have these belief systems that are just not true. So I don't want to say too much because I don't want to take anything more away from this, but we need to get the projector going, and maybe you can just kind of introduce it while I do that.
Sure. Well, I turned 40, had a hysterectomy, and became a vegan in a 2-week period last summer. So quite a change, needless to say. And what I'd like to share with you today is some of my journey, and as Thomas mentioned, some of the myths and the beliefs that I had to change in order to have this healthier lifestyle, which then evolved into me being a vegan. So along the way, and as I'm talking about the different myths, I'll help dispel them with some resources. There'll also be, the handouts I have here are a list of farmers markets and a list of all the different restaurants on island that have vegan and vegetarian options. So even though I'm a vegan, I do understand that the spectrum here in the audience is varied. I know that there are people who have been vegan for decades, been vegetarian for decades, all the way to people who have no idea what being vegan even means. And if you fit anywhere in between that, I know that there will be something that you'll be able to learn and take away from today, no matter where you are or where you're wanting to go in your journey. So my vegan journey, it actually started before that 2-week period that I was talking about. And it started in such a way that I had no idea that this would be the trajectory of this change that would happen. So a little bit about myself. I'm a traveler at heart. I have been a tour guide for about 13 years, and I traveled the world doing all sorts of things, but mostly tour guiding. And I would love to really see and feel and eat the food in local places. So I have eaten the gamut. I have eaten bizarre things. I have eaten hardly cooked things. I have all the things going through my head that I won't say because I know that there are vegans who have been vegans for several years. But my point is that I always loved really seeing what was in the culture. Culture is so much about food and community and gathering. And we have that here on Kauai. We really do. And that's one of the biggest myths that I'm going to help dispel today because we have so much variety, we have so much that's grown here, and we have so much that's offered here. So that's definitely where a part of this talk will head off to. But in my travels, I also had a chance to really meet the people behind the food. And that's one of the things that I really love, and John and PJ probably had no idea they were gonna get such a plug today, but right off the bat, meeting them and just knowing people who really care and are passionate about their food. Now, for those of you who may be new to what vegan is, it means that we don't use any animal products, including honey. And that one sometimes gets slipped by, but they are from bees. So essentially, if it has a mom and a dad and a face, we don't use it. And that is mostly in food, but also we change it into our lifestyle because this isn't about a diet, it's actually a lifestyle and a lifestyle change. So over the months, not only did my food change, but what I used changed from my hair products, my body products, just not using leather anymore, just in general. Not that I did much, but it's still that whole idea that we don't use anything that came from animals. Now, lots of people are vegetarian, and for sure, this applies, everything that I share will apply to vegetarians too, and the biggest difference is usually dairy and eggs. And then within being vegan, there's such a variety. There is raw, where they hardly cook their food, still get super creative and a lot of nutrition. And then there's people that choose not to eat gluten or soy or salt or nuts or fat so there's a lot of wiggle room, and it's all about finding out what works for us. So recently, I went and had some testing done, and I found that my traveling bug was a little bit more than I thought. These were the results of my tests. And if you can't see, it has a plane on the heart and a plane in the head. That's how deep it runs for me. And with this traveling, it's actually coming full circle where I'll be tour guiding again. And I'm looking forward to being vegan while I'm tour guiding. Because when I had a chance to be vegan quite a few years ago, I just had a different mindset. I had a different belief system. And it was really challenging to be vegan while I was on the road. So now I know that I can do it. And how I know that is because I say so. And that brings me to the part around beliefs. For anything to change in the outside of my life, I had to change the inside first. And that's why a lot of these beliefs and myths that we'll talk about, you may identify with them or not, but these were a lot of the ones that I had to come over or go over, but also some that I hear a lot when I share that I'm vegan. And for me, it all started, I was saying it started way before that 2 weeks, it all started about forgiveness. You see, food had always been a big part of my life, and a lot of times it was comfort, it was also to not feel feelings, and it was also a huge distraction. And I really went through the gamut around body image, food problems, just issues. And one of the ways that I used food was actually to punish myself. And it's not something I knew I was doing at the time. So when I had this moment of really getting into the self-forgiveness, I saw and recognized what I was doing, and I wanted to change. And for me, changing meant what I ate, what I put in my mind, what I put in my body, and who I surrounded myself with. So yes, it's about being vegan, and my talk is to help if anybody's wanting to head that way, or even if you're just wanting to add a few more veggies. But for me, it was holistic. It's not just about the food. And yes, it was about my health first. But now it's really evolved into about the animals and the environment and everything that it means for me to be vegan. So I willingly released all old thinking patterns based on fear and self-doubt. I allowed new ones based on love and self-confidence. That's where the change started. That's when it started to happen. So for me, I actually let go of sugar and gluten first. And even though that's not necessarily a vegan thing, that's just for me where I knew where my problems were and what was problematic for me. So after weeks of doing that, I really saw how I started feeling better. I started feeling lighter, I had more energy, and I just felt more vibrant. And people around me were really noticing. And I started to drop some weight, so physically it was showing too. And I had this physical problem that I knew was gonna have to be taken care of. So I started to learn more and more and more. There's so many resources out there. And I'm big on sharing what I'm for, not what I'm against. And there is plenty out there about what is against why people become vegan, either the industry, animals, all that. But that's not where I focus. But there's plenty out there to get educated. So I watched YouTube videos, I read blogs, I watched documentaries. I mean, it was almost like I couldn't stop. I just kept learning and learning and learning, knowing that one day I would possibly let go of all the animal products. But it wasn't overnight. And then around the time when I turned 40, my mom came, and we had a wonderful visit, and she was here to help me through the surgery. And then shortly after she left, I just felt so gross. We had eaten so much more meat than what I was used to, and I just knew. Have you ever had one of those moments where you just knew something had to change?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We all go through that. And I did, and I remember talking to my husband, Ron, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna let go of meat now. And his answer to almost everything I do is, okay. And those of you who know him know that's true. This time I was like, okay, babe. Because I was super clear that I had to make this choice for myself, and that it had nothing to do whether he did or he didn't. And that's going to be one of the myths that I talk about too. And then that was where the overnight was. And since then, I have been vegan. So I wanted to go through some of the vegan myths. And even since being vegan, I feel like I learn and I change and I'm growing and it's always shifting. And Benjamin was the speaker last month and I learned a lot and have even learned to shift, because with being vegan, there's also a junk food vegan. And then there's the plant-based, whole food plant-based vegan. So I want to be clear that that's what I speak about and that's what I changed to. Because don't you know, French fries, Oreos, and soda are all vegan. They are. But I'm going to talk about tomatoes and peppers and zucchinis and the rainbow of the plants. And through my process, I've also started to eat less processed foods. So that's part of the whole plant-based lifestyle. So I still eat some processed stuff, such as tempeh and tofu and some noodles here and there, but I really have gone more towards all the rainbow of the colors. Myth number 1, protein. Who that is here, who is vegan or vegetarian, has gotten the question about protein? And nobody ever cared about my protein intake before they heard that I was vegan. So when I saw this little meme, I thought it was just so perfect, because it's true. It's not a question you go asking people, like, did you get your protein today? Did you get your protein today? But when I would tell people that I'm vegan, they're like, oh yeah, you must not get enough protein. So let me bust that for you. The animals that we get our protein from are eating plants. They're the ones, the plants are what are giving the animals the protein that we in turn eat if we eat meat. So when you become vegan, you cut out the middleman and you're eating the protein directly. Plants have protein, and lots of it. Almost every plant has protein, some have more than others. Now these just show a sampling, but a lot of the nuts and quinoa and beans and tofu and the dark leafy greens, I mean, it's on and on, really. These are 2 that I found that had the pictures, but you can certainly go and find out more. But if you are eating plants, you are getting protein. And not only that, but there actually isn't such a thing as protein deficiency. There really isn't. You never hear of people dying from not having enough protein. Now, maybe if they're on the Oreo cookie and French fry diet, they're not getting enough protein, but that's not because they're being a whole food, plant-based lifestyle. It's because they're junk food vegans. Now, with protein, it is very, this is again where it's best to have it in the form as close as to it being grown and less processed. Myth number 2, it's expensive. Sure. But I know when I was buying meat and I was buying all the processed foods, it wasn't cheap either. And I have actually found many ways where it's really inexpensive. So there's many farmers markets here on the island. We are truly blessed here on Kauai. There is a farmers market somewhere every day on this island, everywhere. There's lots of resources to find out where they are. One of them is a sheet that I made for everybody. So whether you are on the south side, west side, north shore, east side, there's farmers markets. Yes, sometimes you have to plan ahead, sometimes you have to schedule your day around it, but there is a way to get to the beautiful produce that's grown right here, and we have a huge, huge variety that are grown here. Yes, some of the farms were affected during the recent floods and the storms. However, there are lots of farms that are still growing and have an abundance, and now more than ever is the time to support these farms. Because when we grow local and we show them what we are wanting and we are consuming what they are growing and we are also offering suggestions of more of what they want, then more will show up. More will come because we participate in our local economy. And a lot of the restaurants I'll talk about also use and buy local. But it's not just local. We do have some great products that come into Kauai. Sure, produce that gets shipped in, it does take a little while and might not be as fresh, but we can get organic produce. All the supermarkets have it, Costco has it in bulk, and Costco actually helps cut the cost of so many things. Even buying big bags of beans, quinoa, they have lots of different organic, and same idea. The more we buy and the more that we use our money wisely, the more that they'll keep bringing these items in. And I'm always excited when I go to Costco and I see something new or I see something different that's vegan or organic. And guess what? They have a suggestion form. Write it down. If there's something that they used to have that they no longer carry or something you've never seen there that you would like for them to bring in, write it down. Our voice does matter. It makes a difference what we choose and where we put our money. So to dispel the vegan is expensive, the chart that I have on the left-hand side is that, yes, it can be. If you buy all the substitutes, all the different meat substitutes, the cheese substitutes, the nut butters, a lot of the more exotic fruits, you know, there is the gamut. And granted, a lot of those substitutes are great to help people transition. And read the label. It depends on how unprocessed you want to go and how whole food, plant-based you want to be. So for me, I personally, because I had let go of gluten before becoming vegan, a lot of these products actually have gluten in it. So I don't eat a lot of these products, but I was still able to make the transition fairly easy because we've got so much here. There's so much in abundance. But if you are buying the whole fruits, the veggies, even some of the minimally processed, like the tofu or seitan and the tempeh, like, again, there are places where you can save money, whether it's online, whether it's on island, whether it's the health food stores or the regular big box stores. It can be done. We just have to look at it differently. And then these are some of my favorite farmers, because once you start going to the farms a lot, then you really get to know the farmers and you get to know their practices and you get to know the seasons and you get to know what's available. So I want to backtrack a little bit and talk about the farmers from when I used to guide food tours. So that's how much food has been a part of my life all these years. I came off the road from doing over-the-road tour guiding and I went right into guiding food tours. Now, they weren't vegan tours or anything like that. They were food trucks, they were restaurants, and they were farmers markets where it was all mostly supporting local. So I got to meet a lot of these farmers, and their heart is in it. So if you believe anything about energy and vibration or in that how that affects us and our bodies, then this is where it's really at. When you buy local, because first of all, our land is really rich, but we've got such an amazing vibe here on Kauai. Like, it's all about love to these farmers. And so that's why another reason why to really support them. And you'll see many of the farmers at the different markets. Some go to all the different markets and you get to know them. So other ways to keep it affordable: farmers market, grow your own. I know even in our yard, we rent, but we have avocados, we have oranges, we used to have lychee. We have an abundance right in our yard that we have access to, and I'm sure many of you do as well. Green thumb, I don't really grow anything, don't really know how, and don't really care to. But for those who do, we've got a year-round growing season to grow your own. And then up in Kilauea, there's a community garden. Don't want to grow your own? Want to pitch in? You can go and spend a couple of hours helping them harvest, and then you walk away with a box of produce. Buy in bulk, I was talking about that with Costco, and then keep it simple. I love cooking. I didn't always love cooking. And for me, the easiest thing to transition into cooking more was to keep it simple. And there's tons of really wonderful cookbooks. You can find almost anything free and online. There's YouTube videos, and some can be pretty complicated. We actually had some friends over the other night, and I see Doug in the back, and it took a team of 4 of us to make this lasagna, like no joke. So it wouldn't take 4 hours, it took 4 of us, and it was fun. So get involved with your friends. I've had some friends over to cook. I cooked with them, I've cooked for them. And it was such a turning point because I never believed that I could cook, nor did I believe that I liked to cook. And my mom used to say, if I wanted to go somewhere exotic, I should just go to the kitchen. Yeah. Now, it's not a foreign destination to me. But I keep it simple. And then all the different free resources that I've mentioned, there's so much out there. There truly is. Myth number 3, vegan is boring. Even if you don't know me, from the few minutes that I've been up here, you shall know that I am not boring. I like things to be fun and colorful and vibrant. That's who I am, and that's how everything I do needs to be, or I simply don't do it. Or if I do it, it won't be for long. And so with this, I thought this was so funny. I had a friend who, she's actually here visiting Island, and when she was here a few months ago, she was like, let's go out to lunch, but I don't know where you go eat. Do you just pull over and start eating grass on the side of the road? And I rolled my eyes. And I was like, no, actually, there's plenty of places to eat, and I don't like grass. So there we go. But with that, that's why people do think, if you don't know, or like, look at the spread that we had today, because I know there are several meat eaters out here. Now, I'm sure that nobody starved today. Did anybody starve? Did anybody starve? No, okay. And it's because it's not boring. We can do so many things that we used to eat with meat, but we can do it without meat. So this says about what my grandma eats, just a pea or salad. I remember my dad asking me that too, like, don't you get sick of eating salads? I'm like, I actually hardly eat salads because I don't need to. There's a lot of other things to do, though I do still like my salads. And then there's tofu, but the variety that we see on the bottom slide, like that's where it's at. Because there's so much, eating vegan or vegetarian never has to be boring because we eat the rainbow. And someone actually came and showed me her plate and showed that she had every color from the table here, except for blue. And then I thought there were blueberries, but there were not. But we can eat the rainbow, and when we eat the rainbow, first of all, it gives us a variety, but it also gives us all the nutrients and all the nutrition that our body needs. And that's why I do believe that after my surgery, I healed so quickly because I had changed my eating and I nourished my body with what it needed. And I had a lot of prayers and I had a whole spiritual team behind me to help me because I knew that I was already whole, perfect, and complete. So having that mindset and then changing my food really helped me heal. And these are some of the things that I've made just to show that it's not boring and it doesn't have to be out at restaurants either, though I love eating out and that's coming up next. So these were from the farmer's market. So you see the stir fry that I have on the bottom. When I cook, I also do what's called batch cooking, which makes it simpler. Like that pan of stir fry can last me 2, 3, sometimes 4 meals because I'll also have a starch like a potato or rice or quinoa with it. And then I have a kombucha pumpkin that I had some leftovers that I stuffed it with and baked it and ate it like that. And then up top I had gotten some strawberries from the Costco, and I made my own popsicles with mint and lemon that I got. On the left-hand side, that's a noodle soup that I made. That's chickpea noodle soup instead of chicken noodle soup. And then I made my own lasagna. This was a different lasagna up top, and then a beautiful quinoa salad. So does this look boring? No. Does this look colorful? Yes. Yes, absolutely. So myth number 4, it's difficult. Sure. If you say it is, it will be. If you say you can't, you won't. And for a long time, I didn't think I could either. But what I found is as I started adding more to my plate, more veggies, more colors, it didn't end up being about eliminating anything. I just crowded my plate with so much good stuff that the dead stuff no longer appealed to me. And it happened naturally. And it happened over time, as I shared. And I really believe that we're all where we're at, and we just start where we are. And it doesn't matter if you want to go full vegan or just have more veggies on your plate. It doesn't matter if you're wanting to do it to lose some weight, heal a disease, or save the environment. It really doesn't matter. We just start where we are, and if we say we can, we can. So anything you can eat, I can eat vegan, and I've proved that, and I had fun with that with my mom. I was recently visiting back in December, and she was really quite scared because she didn't know what I was going to eat. And I let her know that it's okay, I'll do my own shopping. I'm sure there's grocery stores and farmers markets in Florida. And there was, and we had a great time. And one time we actually did this where she was making a French onion soup, and I made my own version. So we still got to have that connection, that community, that fun together, and we both got to eat what we wanted. And then there's a new vegan starter kit, which comes with nutritional yeast, which I call vegan crack, t-shirt, because it seems like we all end up buying t-shirts that say we're vegan, and toilet paper and B12, and all the cookbooks down on the bottom. So I don't need to go too much into the toilet paper side, but let me tell you, things changed. How else to make it easy? Keep it simple and start where you are. Start by adding more and more fruits and veggies. You know, I talk a lot about I talk a lot about veggies, but there's so many fruits that are here on island. I don't tend to eat a lot of fruit, especially just the sugary kind, but I do eat a lot of berries, which are high in antioxidants and just add a lot of color to my plate and my smoothies. And then experiment with different recipes. Like I got a chance to try things I never thought I would eat. And I got to learn about recipes and about people who are on YouTube that are just really cool and that I can resonate with, that just taught me new and taught me different and taught me something that I could try. But I had to be willing. I had to be willing to try something different, and I had to be willing to get out of my comfort zone and try new things. So I batch cook and make many meals at once. I get creative with recipes I already know. So oftentimes I have a what have I got in my fridge recipe going on. And it's literally like, what do I have left over and what can I do with it? I also do a little bit of what's called, I call it intuitive cooking, where I really don't know what I'm gonna make, but I know what we have, and oftentimes it happens when I'm driving for whatever reason. Well, I'll start to put together a recipe, and then I'm able to get home and put it together, and there we go. You know, I really stress on keeping it simple. And believe that you're worth it, and you will find the time and effort. That was one of the biggest things that came out of me forgiving myself, and forgiving myself for everything. I started to love myself in a way that I didn't know how to before. And through this, it was with food. So I started treating my body in a way that was loving and nourishing, and more water, and more hydration, and more colors, and more. So I never have ever felt deprived. I've never felt that I couldn't do this. Once in a while, I've had to get creative when I'm out and about and I don't plan ahead, because I do choose to plan ahead, and I bring a lot of food with me. Wanna come? And that's it too. I also, in part of loving myself, I had to get over what I think other people may or may not be thinking of me. When I'm the one bringing my own food, or having my lunch bag, or asking for things to be different at a restaurant that's not vegan. I just had to get over it, because I'm worth it, and I'm worth feeling good, and I'm worth being healthy. And I hope you feel that too. Thank you. So you can pretty much substitute for anything. Even if you change one thing, it will make a difference. There was a book that I read once that's called The Slight Edge. And they say if you make one change, one difference, walk with me, Amelia. Walk. Make one more step. You change the direction you're going, even if it's one little step at a time. And if you were to draw out that line, you end up in a completely different place and a completely different space than if you changed nothing at all. And that's where it comes about the mindset, because it does make a difference. So with alternatives, for milk, there's so much out there between soy milk, rice milk, hemp milk, oat milk, almond milk, hazelnut, coconut, cashew. I mean, it's on and on. I felt like I could sing that. It's like a song with all the milks that you could do. And of course, organic's always better. And there are a lot of organic varieties. I still read the labels because sometimes they have a lot of sugar. So it's just, again, being mindful and being aware, but there are alternatives. For eggs, there's lots of different alternatives that you can use, especially with baking. I'm not a big baker yet, so I haven't really found the need. I actually just simply don't miss eggs and don't need to do anything with it. But if you wanted to, you can convert the recipes you already have with simple steps, such as using either ground flaxseed, chia seeds, mashed bananas, even tofu. We made a ricotta for that lasagna I mentioned with tofu and a few nuts. There's chickpea flour with some water, applesauce. So there's so many different things that you can substitute that's still healthy. Myth number 5. I can't because they won't. Whoever they may be. That's always the question. Who are they? Whether they are your spouse, your kids, your friends, your social circle, it doesn't matter. If you choose to make a difference for yourself, I believe that you can. Because I did. Because this beautiful man, who's sitting in the back, still eats meat. And we still love each other. Imagine that. And I was very clear on my side that this is what I was choosing to do, and there would never be me forcing him or anyone in my life to do it too. It's just simply not how I roll, it's not what I do, and I don't believe that's where change comes from anyways. But I have to say, he eats more veggies, and sometimes even takes full vegan meals to work. And his coworkers know it's me. And then the next day he'll still go to Jack in the Box. So there we have it. And I say this because I do hear this a lot actually, and it saddens me. And it saddens me because if it's something that truly resonates with one person and the other person is not supportive, or there's like a tug of war, maybe that needs to be looked at as well. But I know that Ron always said, okay, babe, whatever it is, and he's watched me experiment. He's watched them be fabulous experimentations, and he's seen some pretty epic fails. Those I didn't really feed to him either, so that was helpful. But if you are wanting to make this change for yourself, just make the change for yourself. Just do it for you, because what will happen is other people will notice, it will be seen, and sometime, somewhere, maybe perhaps, someone will be inspired to change. And that's all I can do is, for me, lead by example and be willing to help anyone who wants to change. Myth number 6, and where I will spend the most time. There's nowhere to eat on Kauai. Who believes that this is already just a falsehood? Yes, you two better be at Eat Healthy Kauai. You better be raising your hands. It is. And, so this is where it's at. We only have a few fully vegan restaurants. For vegetarians, there are a lot more options. But there are many easy substitutions when you're eating out as vegan that you can just simply ask the restaurant to change. We were just talking about this. Because guess what? You won't be the first vegan to walk in that restaurant and ask for no cheese. You just won't. It's not going to be odd. It's not going to be weird. You're not putting anybody out. And I used to think that. I used to feel ashamed to ask for what I wanted. But now I know that I can, and it's really no big deal. If you don't make it a big deal, it's not a big deal. So eat out. So when you're eating out on Kauai, get creative, be open-minded, be willing to try something different and ask for the modifications. A lot of times side dishes are the veggies. I have gone out where we've traveled as well, and we've gone to restaurants where it looks like I'm not going to be able to eat. Never true. I've never starved. And I just got creative and asked for a bunch of side dishes and made my own meal. Branch out and try something new. We don't have to just eat salads. You heard my feeling on salads earlier. They are great and I do enjoy them, but that's not all we have to eat. And then ask about the bread. Sometimes this is where we're not sure, either with sandwiches or with, sometimes you get the free bread. It's not always vegan. And then that's also where, it depends on where you are and how strict you want to be with the bread. But they'll know. And then I just plan ahead. Almost every restaurant, especially here on island, has a menu online. Check it out. Pull it up. Look at it. Plan ahead. Now, not all the restaurants I'll talk about has a plethora of options, but there's always something. Almost always something. I have had a hard time at the really local plate lunch places, but even then, I can still have rice. And then there's an awesome app that I totally love called Happy Cow. That's what it looks like. It is international. So anywhere you go, it geolocates to where you are and will show you the vegetarian, veg options, or fully vegan restaurants and where they are right near you. And it's also crowdsourced. So lots of people put photos or pictures of the menus or reviews. So it's very active and it's very up to date even here on Kauai. So check it out. It's a free app. I think they also have one that's a little bit more involved that you pay for, but you really don't need it. And then the website, because they've got a website, they also have lots of great nutrition information about the environment, animals, recipes. They've got a lot going on. So this is where it's audience participation. How many restaurants, and this is just Kauai, the whole island from Keikaha to Haiana, that you believe have options for vegans and vegetarians? Just start shouting out numbers. 20, 164, 45, 97, 200. All right. Well, this is just what I've counted out, so there may be more, but I have learned and found 142 restaurants on island. So when someone tells you that there's nowhere to eat on Kauai, or if you think that there's nowhere to eat on Kauai, remember that there are 142 places. And so what I've done is I have put all those in a list, and I have that as one of my handouts, and I'll go through some of them here. It is one of the biggest myths that I hear that I just want to slap that bullshit button when I hear it, because it's just not true. So Waimea, Hanapepe, Eleele, and Kalaheo. Some of them now, I just saw Subway's as the first one. There's a lot of fast food restaurants that are getting more privy and having more than just salads. Again, that's up to you to choose if you want to support those places, but to know that you can get something at a Subway that's, wherever they are, because they're everywhere, that's really great to know. I know that Wranglers, and all the asterisks is where you can get vegan as well. So again, there are a lot more vegetarian options, but you can definitely get vegan at the places that have the asterisks, and the list has the asterisks as well. And sometimes you just need to ask. But the Chinese food place that's right in Hanapepe, MCS Grill, I was so excited. Loretta and I went and had lunch there, and they had a lentil loaf with rice and this beautiful salad, and it's just very exciting. I get very excited when there's options other than salad, because you already know how I feel about salad. So these are some of the places on the west side. So MCS Grill, these are actual meals that I have had. Kalaheo Cafe is phenomenal and awesome. Harmonious Roots, Kimya, she's a Persian chef that cooks vegan and gluten-free. A lot of times she's set up as more of a pop-up, and she does different events like Hanapepe Art Night, Kapa'a Walk. She also does catering, but I always like to include her because she's a dear friend and she's pretty rad. So Koloa and Poipu, there's quite a bit here, not just at the hotels, but at the hotels as well. So if you're having a hard time seeing, because I know I had to squeeze them in because there's so many, don't worry because they're all listed down. But so even people who are visiting here on island, even at the resorts, they have choices that are healthy and they can have. Did you have a question? Awesome, yeah, that's true. So what was just said is that Kimya at Harmonious Roots isn't doing the pop-ups right now, but you can still find her pre-made grab-and-goes at places like Vim and Vigor, and also I've seen them at Hoku. And somewhere up north too, I believe. There's one of the Trinity coffee places. And these are some, again, my own photos. Bangkok Happy Bowl actually has, that's their actual menu, that right in the menu, right in the middle of the menu is a whole list of vegan options. Now certainly I have found more options at different Asian restaurants, either Chinese or Thai or Vietnamese. They definitely are very vegan friendly. And they have down at the Cabana, which is now at the Poipu Athletic Center, that restaurant has changed 2, 3, 4, 5 times. But now the Cabana, the owner is vegetarian, Christina, so she has some healthy options there as well. And then at Kukui Ula store, which is at it's right next to DeCrack and where the Yellow Submarine is down in Koloa. It's not the big shopping center, but out back they've got the juice bar that has all kinds of smoothies, bowls, and then she's got a lot of grab and go that are vegan as well for lunch and for breakfast. And then Makai Sushi, this is one of their bowls. They're known for their sushi, of course, and their fish, but they have a veggie roll and then a veggie bowl as well. So Lihui, we were just trying to figure this out this afternoon, like where do we eat in Lihui that has vegan? A little bit more challenging on Sundays, to be honest. A lot of restaurants are closed on Sundays, some on Mondays. But Gaylord's, Kalapaki Joe's, Kauai Brewing Company, Ollie's Arepas. She's a food truck that's in the parking lot between Costco and Home Depot. She has vegan options as well. Viv and Vigor, they have the grab and go, and they're also a great resource for other things. And then Aloha Aina Juice Bar is in Puhi, and many of these folks too are on our Dine Around program. So I know that Walt made a comment in regards to if you have a card, you will, once you get a membership, you'll get your card. You'll also get a list of on all the islands of where you can get a discount and receive either freebies or 10% off, 15% off. So you get 10% off at Aloha Aina Juice. And here is my arepas at Verde's. That's their stacked enchiladas. We ate there today because they're open on Sundays. Yay. My acai bowl, and then actually those are the vegan tacos from Verde's as well. So again, does it look boring? No. Am I starving? No. And then Wailua and Kapa'a, this is where my list started getting really long, and I did put Eat Healthy Kauai and Rainbow Living Foods in a different color because they are fully vegan, and then Rainbow Living Foods is actually raw, so for those of you who like to eat raw. Now my disclaimer in all of this, if you are in the variance of the vegan spectrum as I shared with no soy or no oil or no salt, there you'll have to do some research and find out. This was purely just no animal products that I could find. So Mermaids, Olympic Cafe, Kauai Pasta, El Pastor, I mean, it feels almost endless of what you could do here on island and where you can eat. And then I live on the east side, so I eat out more on the east side, so that's why this slide is way more cluttered. But definitely represented is Kauai Juice Company, Eat Healthy, Faux Kapa'a, Wailua Shave Ice, because they are vegan when you get the coconut milk. And really good. The Spot, the Saimin Dojo, which is a new restaurant, they have a coconut broth for their Saimin that's vegan, and it's actually, the name of it is vegan. So it's very clear. It's very clear. And then Oasis. Anahola, Kilauea, Princeville, and Hanalei to round it all out. Some of the restaurants I know in Hanalei have gone through some challenges with the floods, so now more than ever, Hanalei and the North Shore need our support, need our dollars, need our help, and need our love. But again, Kilauea Bakery, and I'm just literally saying which ones pop out at me. I'm not meaning to, pull anybody aside specifically, but Tahiti Nui, Postcards Cafe, Fresh Bite, food truck. There's a lot of food trucks on island that have vegan options. The Turmeric is an Indian food truck up in Hanalei, which is really good. The pizza is actually from Piazza, which is a new-ish restaurant that's in the Princeville Shopping Center. And then, believe it or not, there's vegan food at the mini golf. Who knew? And it's a barbecue place, so that was even more surprising when I saw that. And that's the lower left-hand corner. They're tucked there in the common area. So the different Kauai farmers markets. I've already shared how much I love them, I care about them. Real food doesn't have ingredients. Real food is ingredients, right? And so North Shore, East Side, all these are listed on the handout that I have for you, so please grab one of those if you feel that would be helpful. But almost every day, not almost, every day somewhere around the island, there are farmers markets. And then South Side and even the West Side. You got some sunshine markets. There are a few different kind of markets on island. There are community-led, there are private, such as Kealia, like all the farmers at Kealia Farm Market grow their food at the farm there. So there's private, there's county, private, and then, there's another one's blanking, but my disclaimer is that Farm Bureau runs a few of them. So the Farm Bureau and the private ones have been checked, and people have actually gone out to farms to know that that is exactly what they're growing. Not everyone at all the farmers markets have integrity. Just gonna put it out there. If you are seeing mangoes in the dead of winter and you know that that's a summer fruit, that has come not from Kauai. It comes from Costco. And sometimes you see little sticky bits on your fruit. That's from the glue on the labels. So just be mindful and know your farmer. So this is me when I'm headed to a vegan restaurant. I have had the opportunity to travel since being vegan, and that Happy Cow app has never led me astray. I have had amazing experiences and lots of fun, and even my vegan mom and my second mom, her partner, who don't eat vegan, eat a lot of meat, have been able to eat and totally enjoy themselves. And I got to cook for them too, which is neat. My mom was a little bit confused seeing me in the kitchen, but I think she got over it. So because of all this and being very excited and seeing everything that has changed in my life, people started asking me what I'm doing. And then I would hear some of the myths and I'd be able to share some of the things. And then people started asking me I actually started already posting and promoting and talking about it on Facebook and my personal page. And then someone who's sitting in the back of the room, who's taking a picture of me now, suggested that I pull it all together and I have my own page. So I chose to call it Kauai Vegan Unicorn because I'm here on Kauai, I'm vegan, and I love unicorns. And I'd just thrown myself a really big 40th party that was a unicorn themed because, don't you know, I'm an adult now and I can do what I want. So in summary, if you resonated with any of these myths, if you've had them yourself, or if you've had beliefs that just simply aren't working for you anymore, you get to change them. You get to change which ones, and you get to change them to how you want them to be. Food that is vegan is healthy, nutritious, vibrant, colorful. It's not boring, it's not expensive, it's very affordable, it's very colorful. We can go out almost anywhere. We can travel the world and stay in integrity with how we want to eat, and it makes a difference. It makes a difference to our health, to our bodies, to our community, to the animals, to the planet, and to the environment. So if nothing changes, nothing changes. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Michelle. You all like that? We don't have to have these big name speakers come in and spend all this money. We can have great speakers right here, right? So Michelle's been taking speech classes too, and so it's paying off, because she told me she's been going to Toastmasters. So thank you so much. It was very inspiring, it was very informative, it was engaging, and it was very practical. Because if it's not practical, it doesn't work, it doesn't happen in our lives. So, but on our website is all the Vegetarian Society places. It's under the dining guide, and you can pull it up under the tab dining guide, and it shows you for each island all the places that have vegetarian food or vegan options, as well as health food stores. And it will also have menus sometimes or links to their website. And if you see it in red, it'll say 10% off. That means they're part of our dining guide. And I'll just put a little plug in here that Michelle was doing a great job helping get some restaurants. We only had one when I took this over in September of 2017, or 16, I'm sorry. And now we have about 17 places, businesses that you can get discounts at on Kauai. And we could be getting a lot more. In fact, I didn't realize there was 142, and I missed a whole bunch of places I would not even have thought of going to try to see if they would give our members a discount. So we need more, you know, especially on certain, like the west side. I didn't know there was that many places. So we need a volunteer to help us. That's one thing we really need help with, and I can train you. But going to all these different places when you're out driving and just talking to the restaurant owners and seeing if they would be willing to participate in our dining program, and it drives business to them, and it gives them free advertising on our website. So, you know, that's something that we need some help with. I just don't have the time to do it myself. It's a full-time job just trying to just coordinate everything, but we need a specific volunteer for that. And Michelle was doing great. She couldn't do two jobs. And when it comes to volunteering, we only want people who want to help and that are activists, and that they just want to do one thing, you know, that they would like to do. So I want to encourage any of you that might want to help out. We still need some positions filled. And I also want to thank my wife in the back, and I'm so glad she came, Janie. She helps set up all the audio tech. She doesn't like to be in the forefront much, but she did a lot of the background you know, work in setting up the sound system, and it makes it a lot easier for me. So thank you very much for coming. Also, thank you for any of you that can stay later and help us clean up. It goes faster. We just have to put all the chairs back and get this place back in order so that we can use it next time. And so far, we've been doing pretty good. You know, we have good favor with the Sun Village Clubhouse manager, whose office is right there. And he comes in here on Monday, and as long as it looks good, we keep using it for free. So, and we thank Amorosa. Where's Amorosa? There she is. Yes. It's because of Amorosa that we can meet here. Okay? She lives here. And she's the one that actually helps sponsor this so we can have this really amazing place. So I want to invite you to come next month, and I'm excited to come myself and learn something that will help me to get some ideas for making some food from John, who's going to come and do a cooking demo. Same time, 4:30, first Sunday of the month is when we always meet. The only time that would change is in the holiday season, and we might vary that, but just remember it's always the same time, first Sunday of the month. The last announcement is important. A lot of people want help to be able to transition, and we have a smaller support group that just recently started, and it's a cooking class. It's the third Sunday of the month, and it is our leader here for that is not here today. She probably had to work, I don't know, but anyway, she's going to come again the third Sunday, which is the 20th. It's May 20th, and she's going to do a cooking demo. She encouraged people just to do a $10 donation, and there was only about 9 or 10 people, so we had a full meal, you know, because she made 3 different things, and we learned a lot. I will not be able to be here because that's Pentecost, and I have basically a feast to attend. But if you guys can come, or you'd like to come, we'll be posting on Facebook. We'll be sending out emails. If you guys want to be on our email list, please just put your name, and there's a little card up there and a pen, and we can send you out. That's why we have your email, so we can send out notices of what's happening. So we're also trying to meet not just the first Sunday of the month, but the third Sunday of the month for a cooking demo. And Raima Montero is the one that is leading out. We had our first one this last month, and it was awesome. So with that, I just want to thank you all for coming, and I want to share this quote from Winston Churchill. And some of you, may be struggling going forwards and backwards with your health, with your lifestyle changes, and I thought this was a great quote. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Amen. So, thank you for coming. If you need to go home, go home. If you want to fellowship, hang out, meet some people, welcome to stay.